Hello, my friends, and welcome to Master MicroStrategy, where you and I are working on mastering the genius that is Michel Saylor 7 days a week. Let's start off with a bang because guess what? Bitcoin is over 100,000. Pop the champagne. We're somewhere around 102 to 103,000 at the time of this recording. It is such a momentous moment. I mean, yes, Bitcoin could retrace. Yes, it could go to the moon. Who knows what's happening in the future? But breaking through that psychological barrier once is what we were all waiting for. So, congratulations, you made it. And you will always remember where you were when you visually saw Bitcoin at over 100,000 for the first time. I know that I will. I have it seared into my brain. It is a memory that I treasure and I love it. And I hope you do as well. And we have a lot of good things to talk about today because, of course, if Bitcoin's over 100,000, MicroStrategy is doing some good things. So here's the MSTR-tracker.com. The stock price closed yesterday at $406. That was up almost 9%. It was about 8.7% increase. The ranking for S&P 500 is 102 out of 500. That was a 17 increase from the day before. I'm hoping and expecting if things stay the same, we're going to open a little higher today and all these numbers will look better. But this is what we're at the moment. Bitcoin price is at 102,885. And we still have 402,100 Bitcoin. Let's hope Michel Saylor has been doing some more buying with a big announcement coming on Monday. But who knows? He can't buy every day, all day. But, we'll see. Michel Saylor never fails to impress. Right now, the unrealized profits at about 18 billion for a 76% return percentage. So things are looking great, my friends. Let's move on to the Catalyst Tracker. This is something new that I want to start sharing on a daily basis just to get excited for things that are coming up. As you can see, the shareholder vote on BTC for Microsoft is 5 days away. The QQQ inclusion announcements, 8 days away. The Fed meeting, which always has an impact, is 13 days away. The QQQ inclusion is 15 days away. And of course, Christmas is 20 days away. So we'll keep updating you on that and adding more things as they come. But there's a lot of catalysts that are coming up this year. Let's talk about the first news article, which is why hedge funds are betting big on MicroStrategy's Bitcoin strategy. And again, this is just what I wanted to show you that finally, traditional finance is starting to come around. Finally, they're starting to realize that this is an unstoppable train. Yes, there will be low days. Yes, there will be retracements. Yes, there will be drawdowns. But guess what? Over time, zooming out, Bitcoin is going up, in my opinion. I believe in its thesis, which means over time, MicroStrategy is going up. I believe in its thesis. These are my personal opinions. I believe in them. And something I didn't mention in the excitement of the beginning part of this episode is this is not financial advice. Nothing that I say in this video or any of my videos on Master MicroStrategy is financial advice. Do your own research, consult a financial advisor, a professional, and make your own decisions, please. But hedge funds are betting big on MicroStrategy, and they're talking why they're doing that. They love the volatility. They love the arbitrage. They're getting deep into this. I'll link this article in the show notes below if you want to check it out. This is the next article I wanted to share, which is how MicroStrategy stock jumped 8% as Bitcoin breaks the 100K barrier. This is in pre-market trading. Who knows what it's going to open at? It might be higher. It might be lower. Who knows what the day will bring? Of course, that'll be partially in response to what the day Bitcoin brings. Because again, this is what I love. I love Bitcoin. It's perfect money. It's amazing. It's going up forever, in my opinion. And guess what? MicroStrategy is tied to Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up forever, MicroStrategy is going up forever. And it's going to be creating a Bitcoin treasury of amazing things and opportunities that I can't even begin to imagine. I mean, I have some idea based on the Q3 earnings report that, we've talked about before. And if you haven't watched that, go watch the Q3 earnings reports. I literally can't wait for the Q4 earnings report. I'm more excited about that than anything else that I can visually watch, like a movie or a show or anything I think that I've ever been, because I love seeing Michel Saylor in action, and I hope you do too. So this article just talks about, MicroStrategy being a big component of Bitcoin success and et cetera, how it's buying, now has 402,100 Bitcoin. I'll link this article up as well. Let's move on to the tweets because these are always fun. Punter Jeff wanted to let us know that MicroStrategy is now ranked 101st largest company by market cap, 95 billion. It jumped 15 companies today. Intel is in the crosshairs. And again, if we open where I expect that we'll open, Intel will be looking, or we'll be looking at Intel in the rearview mirror. They'll be having binoculars out to try to find us. This is day 196 in a row of qualifying for the S&P 500, which of course is amazing. And hopefully by the middle of 2025, we'll be having some real conversations about that happening. The third largest publicly traded equity in the entire stock markets, which is just insane. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's two, sometimes it's three. Just insanity. Let's move into the next tweet here. This is from Radu. I just found this individual and I just liked what he tweeted, so I wanted to share it with you. He wrote, "Isn't it insane that there's a tight group of people here on Twitter that are literally front running 99.99%? That's you, my friends. If you're watching this, that's you. You are front running like me, like others, of the world on what's perhaps the biggest technological wave the human race has ever seen. This is real and we're all living through it. Congratulations to you. Who knows what the future will bring? I'm excited for the future. I hope you are too, but just congratulations for being here, for finding this content. Because if you found this content, you search for it and you're listening to it and you're consuming it. And I'm going to be here creating it for you every single day. So I would love a subscribe. I would love a comment. I engage with all of them. If you just want to like, a quick like is amazing as well. But I'm here for you, my friends, to be part of this exciting wave that Radu's talking about. Let's move on to this Michel Saylor tweet. Of course, you gotta give some love to the man here. The deal of the century is the Trump max, and I love how he breaks this down. How if the U.S. government follows this, they purchase 4 million convert 75% surplus. 81 trillion would be the result. This is just insanity. I absolutely love this. So. The Bitcoin therapist writes, print fiat currency to buy Bitcoin. Every nation state will ultimately have to consider this or risk getting left behind globally. True story. End of story. Let's talk about the Bitcoin therapist again. He said, imagine being this upset you didn't buy MicroStrategy before the stock split. Cope harder. And this is Jason Calacanis. He's just, again, this guy is engagement farming. He is hating, he is just trolling this individual. He probably has a huge bag of MicroStrategy behind the scenes. I have no idea, obviously. I'm just guessing and assuming he's going to come out maybe in a year's time with like a screenshot of something and like laugh at everybody, because that's what he does. But I mean, I'll let you pause and read this tweet if you want. It's just an absolute joke. The stuff that he's posting, he either is 100% troll or 100% has done zero research. So it's one of the two. The next tweet I want to share here is actually, we're moving into the video segment here. And this is, I'm not going to actually play the audio because it's in Russian, but basically Putin says, who can ban Bitcoin? No one. And so this is just insane, my friends. This is Putin of Russia, who basically, is one of the leaders, if not the most influential person on BRICS. And he's saying, you can't ban Bitcoin. Nobody can ban Bitcoin. And he's talking about it. He knows that he's starting to understand it. And it's not going to be long before they have joined the party. And so I hope you are getting loaded up before Russia joins the party. Let's move on to this. This is just another legendary Saylor video that I wanted to share with you. So just sit back and enjoy.
What distinguishes this, the digital capital?
Look, when we saw digital photos transform, a lot of people didn't get the fact that Kodak was going to get replaced by Instagram and Facebook, but they get digital photos. Digital capital is what happens when your long-term store of value goes from a building or goes from a portfolio of stocks to a digital asset like Bitcoin. Bitcoin represents the digital transformation of hundreds of trillions of dollars of capital in the world.
Right.
No one expected to see it. So they don't quite get what it's going to be, except for the fact it's worth all the money in the world.
So let's talk about that, because you do have a couple of slides showing assets around the world. First, okay, let's start with this from again geared toward Microsoft, but some critics would say when you talk about digital capital being economically and technically superior, no tax. I mean, that doesn't mean it can't be taxed in certain jurisdictions at some point. No torts. Legal issues are going to come up. No regulator. I mean, these are great points, but are they forever points?
The point is, I got $100 million in New York City and I buy a building. I got to worry about someone slipping and falling on the sidewalk and a property tax. But if I can snap my fingers and teleport the building to Zambia, Central Africa, or to Monaco, all of a sudden, it's a teleportable building. And of course, if I don't have any tenants in the building, I don't got to worry about them defaulting.
Right,
so digital capital is the ability to move the money at the speed of light anywhere on Earth and program it on a computer. There's a lot of people that are going to want that rather than having, pick a country in Africa where you want to invest your life savings in a building forever.
Yeah, let's say Angola.
Right. And what happens if the government fails? You lose everything.
Exactly.
But if you could put the building in your pocket and go to the place where you like the government, maybe you get to keep your money.
Great. Let's talk about how it's going to grow. So in your presentation, you have this slide twice. The first one, right now, Bitcoin is $2 trillion. You're saying in 21 years, $280 trillion. How do we get there?
What I'm saying is the wealth in the entire world is growing because of innovation, because of technology, but also because of inflation. And people are thinking to sell their Central African real estate to buy Bitcoin, or sell their Siberian natural gas to buy Bitcoin, or sell their Argentine currency to buy Bitcoin. So as people migrate their capital into this global monetary asset, that asset class is going to grow faster
than the rest
than
of
equity, faster than gold, faster than real estate.
But also, did I read somewhere that you're saying each Bitcoin would be worth the equivalent of $13 million?
Yeah, well, when you crank in the growth rate, which for me, the base case is 29% a year on average for 21 years, that gets you from where we are today to 13 million a coin in the year 2045.
All right, so we've talked about the financial parts of this. You and I have had great conversations in the past about the humanitarian part of this, right? And I want to talk about that. You just mentioned Africa, for instance. Bitcoin's philosophy and political promise. This is an article from 2022. It's not just a decentralized peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It's more, right? This is what this article is saying. And it's going to have an impact on economies, philosophy, politics, human rights, and society. That is huge to live up to.
Bitcoin is a protocol for prosperity. Fire, electricity, steel, English, mathematics. You would give them to the world. Bitcoin is an economic protocol. Once you master Bitcoin, you can figure out how to save your wealth, how to economically prosper. It works for a country, a company, a family, an individual. Nobody owns it. It's a utilitarian, egalitarian entitlement, just a good for the world. That's why I'm so enthusiastic about it.
And particularly underdeveloped nations, right? I mean, this is what we're really talking about, a way for them to catch up. I mean, right now, if you're an underdeveloped nation and you want to try to catch up, you're at the whims or the mercy of the IMF or the World Bank, who, quite frankly, they have rates sometimes that are like, that makes the mafia blush, right? I mean, to me, you're always going to be an underdeveloped nation if you have to go to the World Bank to borrow money.
If you're a type 1 diabetic, you can eat continuously and you'll starve to death because you cannot store organic energy. If you don't have a capital asset like Bitcoin, I can send billions or tens of billions of dollars to Africa. You can make billions. The money will just drain out of your capital structure because you're storing it in a currency which is collapsing faster than you can actually generate it.
Will large industrialized countries allow this to live up to its promise? It's one thing to say it's a $2 trillion asset. It's another to say, hey, eventually this will replace fiat currency, which a lot of folks believe it will.
I think you got to keep in mind money bifurcates into currency, the medium of exchange, of which the dollar is the world reserve currency, and capital, the store of value, of which right now real estate and equity portfolios are the world reserve capital. Bitcoin is emerging to compete with equity and real estate as world reserve capital. But those Africans, they can't buy real estate in the US. They can't buy equity in the New York Stock Exchange. It's global capital. And once you understand that, you realize that every nation that respects property rights is going to support Bitcoin.
Yeah.
If you go communist, full-on socialist, North Korea, Cuba, they're going to expropriate your property. But any place where people respect property rights and they give you a chance for capitalism and freedom, they're going to allow you to have Bitcoin. And the competitor really is the Vanguard 500 is going to get demonetized a little bit. And then instead of buying a real estate portfolio and a third apartment, you buy some Bitcoin. And I don't think that's threatening to anybody.
My goodness, couldn't you just listen to that man forever? I mean, I love the words coming out of his mouth, how he explains it. God, I just love this. Let's go into this next clip here. I wanted to just let Michel Saylor talk for a little bit more because, again, just love his genius.
Tell me what you think or told Microsoft that they should do, and what are the chances that happen?
Microsoft is buying its own stock back. It's buying bonds. It's dividending out cash flows. If they simply swept their existing cash into Bitcoin, it probably adds $1 trillion to the market cap and $150 to the share price. If they converted the dividend into Bitcoin, adds another $150 to the share price, another $1 trillion to the market cap. If they replace the buybacks with Bitcoin, instead of surrendering the capital, they invest the capital, adds another $1 trillion and $150 to the share price. If they just take a little bit of leverage, they basically take 10% leverage on a huge stack of Bitcoin, they add another $1 trillion. So what I'm saying is, instead of surrendering the capital and then leveraging up the company, right now Microsoft trades at 20 times forward expectations. So I'll say it, 95% of the enterprise value of Microsoft is based on expectations, is the best way to say it, right? And that means it's very asset poor, it's expectation rich. Why don't you actually buy assets, and instead of being 95% on expectations, be 50% on expectations, de-risk the company, grow the enterprise value, and feed the digital economy of the future.
What was the response?
The shareholder meeting is December 10th. We'll find out.
What do you expect? Glazed eyes?
I don't have any illusions that mega corporations are going to immediately embrace Bitcoin. But what I do think is it's going to become part of the conversation. And there are about 120 companies that are public that are starting to hold Bitcoin right now. There are a lot of Bitcoin standard companies like Mara, like Semler, like Metaplanet, like Rumble is getting into the business. And as they start to buy Bitcoin and issue fixed income securities and equity securities, you're going to see demand increase.
Well, there you have it, my friends. The genius that is Michel Saylor coming at you live. And again, this is Master MicroStrategy, where I'm bringing you Michel Saylor's genius, MicroStrategy's genius, the news, the notes, the updates, the intel, 7 days a week. So make it part of your routine. Get educated. I'm going to bring my best to you. Subscribe, comment. I engage with all the comments. Some of them have been pretty fun, by the way. We've got a couple bears in the comments that have been fun to deal with. Appreciate a like, of course, because I'm here working hard for you. And guess what, my friends? This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. So please do your own research and consult with one before you make any financial decisions. And please remember, I want to say a heartfelt congratulations for being just a part of this as we broke the 100,000 barrier. Yes, it may go below. Yes, it may go way above. It doesn't matter. It's been broken. It can never be put back together again. That psychological dam is gone. And we have an incredibly exciting end of the year and an unbelievable 2025 ahead. Who knows what's going to happen? But I can tell you one thing, it will be fun, and I'll be here for you every single day. And please remember, there is no second best.